Hello, and welcome back to the sim. In this one, we're jumping in at Teterboro, and we're going to use the Flight Effects C750 Citation X. Now we're going to get ourselves set up with our WinWing MCDU, and to do that, let's use this plane. So let's go ahead, hop in, and show you how to set up the CDUs from WinWing in SPAD.next. So when we come into SPAD.next, the first thing you're going to notice is, hey, look, there's NOTAMs. Mark them as red. That's cool. So brings your attention to some new updates or information. So the first thing we want to do with our WinWing CDU is enable them, or enable WinWing devices if we haven't done that in general. So you're going to come over here to the settings. You're going to go to devices. Under devices, you want to come to the WinWing subgroup. Inside of here, there's now some information that makes it very clear. One, you can't be running WinWing SimApp Pro. So WinWing SimApp Pro is not going to allow you to choose which devices it will or will not talk to. Now, luckily, SPAD does allow you to do this, which we're covering now. However, it does mean if there was something you wanted to run with SimApp Pro, you just can't do both. So you have to turn off SimApp Pro and do not run it. Now, you will still use SimApp Pro to configure the device as a captain device. SPAD does not care if the device registers as first officer to display the second or third CDUs from different airplanes. It wants all the devices configured a certain way. Then inside of SPAD.next, if you have multiples, you will assign them via what you apply as snippets and device configurations. In SimApp Pro, go ahead and update it to the most current version. Use SimApp Pro if you want to load a font set that you prefer, and use SimApp Pro to set it to captain mode. Once you've done that, turn off SimApp Pro. First thing you're going to find is a general on-off switch for WinWing support. If globally you wanted to disable it because you're just going to use SimApp Pro, you can click this switch and it will shut it all off. Once you've enabled WinWing support, you can choose to disable some items. So first up are the categories. There is all of the CDU devices, MCDU, PFP3, PFP7, PFP4 support. All of this can be enabled. Note, MCDUs from WinWing do require complete edition. You can't run these on the standard edition. You either have to upgrade from the registration upgrade, or if you're watching this and you haven't bought SPAD.next, make sure you get complete edition. The FCU and the PAP, those can run with regular edition. So once you've enabled the categories, so MCDUs, the FCU, so that's your Airbus device, and that does include the AFISes. So the FCU includes the AFISes. Right now, the PAP3 is just the flight management computer, the FMC, MCP, I guess is the better term, MCP. It doesn't have AFIS support because the AFISes aren't out yet. They're in pre-order, but they're not out yet. That support will have to come later. Whether it's got the MEG or switch or not, it's supported for both. Once you've enabled these, if they hadn't been enabled, SPAD's going to tell you, oh, you need to restart. So if we enabled one of these for the first time, some changes will take place after restarting the application. So you'd restart it, set them up, close SPAD, restart SPAD.next, come back in here, because then each individual device will start to show up. So here we can see the specific MCDU. And if I plugged in one of my Boeing CDUs, it also would show up as a separate device, and you can enable or disable it. All the information about the Airbus FCU, we can cover that in a separate video. Same with the Boeing MCP, we'll cover that in a separate video. We're focused on CDUs. Now, whether it's the MCDU or the CDU, the Boeing CDUs, you're going to have a similar type set of configurations. So what you're going to notice is these are the colors that get decoded. So all of the CDUs, the way they render these devices is there's basically tags that get transmitted with the WebSocket text that tell what color and font size and things each line is supposed to be. So when you see blue or orange or green, it's because there's a font tag that's in line with the text, and that is what gets parsed. So when SPAD sees a font tag of red, this is the color of red it's going to generate. So if you wanted to, you could change all of these colors. Now, there are also two steps to this. One step is this is the overall defaults. This is your base defaults, but you can actually change it per profile as well under profile settings. Power on key brightness. So there is a value 0 to 255. And you can pick when the key on brightness, what the default power on brightness is, what power off. So this is referring to the virtual power. So when the virtual power comes on, the default will be 100. If you want the default to be higher, you can go ahead and set that to whatever you want, but you can also adjust it from within devices as well. I set up brightness controls right in my device snippets. Display brightness, same thing, so the display is separate from the keys, and then even the LEDs have their own brightness levels. Next up is the offset of the screen. It's going to need some type of offset every single time. You can also get that information out of SimApp Pro. So if you look at SimApp Pro and you adjust the screen in SimApp Pro, you'll see it. Now here, if you make these adjustment changes, after you make a change, you will need to close SPAD and restart it for those settings to take place. So just be advised, you might spend a couple of restarts just to get it dialed in to the way you like it and the way it should be aligned. Once you had all that complete and now it's part of it, you would come over here to the panel section. And now under the panel section, you're going to find your CDU. Now, of course, yours is going to be blank. Mine has some stuff assigned to it. There are lots of snippets already published, including a default one. If you click on any of these buttons, now you'll see that online snippets becomes available. You click on online snippets. I'm going to drag that over into here. Make it bigger. So now what you're going to see is on the left-hand side, there are different CDUs, Boeing CDU and the MCDU or Airbus CDU. Note, I can still download a Boeing CDU. It's just the keys for a lot of the menu pages aren't going to be aligned correctly. But the LSKs and the keypad and the number pad, those have the same things. So it might be that you don't see something under the MCDU, but you could go to the Boeing CDU, go ahead and find one, and then you're just spending a little bit of time copy pasting and moving things around. So here under the MCDU, there are displays. So somebody had published just a display. There is individual pages. So individual pages, and of course there is complete devices. There's nothing to worry about if you see something with a name. So whether it says WinWing CDU or it says CS for cockpit simulator, an MCDU from any vendor will now have the exact same underlying template. So they're being referenced to the same UI. Same thing goes for the Boeing CDUs. All of them will be the same and they will be assigned, whether it's a 737, a 777, if it's a different CS CDU versus WinWing CDU. So here under complete device, you would be able to search for anything that you want. Note the one I'm using here, the one that I've published, which is the FFX-750 MCDU, does require a extra mod. That mod is in one of the other videos that shows you, which you'll find in the section under video guides for the 750, for the C750. You're going to download that mod, drop in your community, so similar to what's needed for like the CJ4. So when we add this, and if you click on it, it will then say, do you want to replace all events pages defined with this device? Yes, we'll replace it and give it 100% that snippet, which if you have nothing, makes sense. No is actually going to merge things the best it can, and of course cancel will ignore it. Now, one of the things about this one is we do leverage the custom CDU interfaces. Now, these buttons will still use the default device pages. So even if you downloaded this, you could use this snippet with one of the other things like a PMDG or a fly-by-wire. And in most cases, it's going to work with the default snippet pages. Right now, what you'll notice, and if we go to the status page, is it is offline. And that's only because I have an LVAR, which on my Stream Deck, I need to change the CDU so it sends to 8089. And that's referring to under application settings, under Microsoft Flight Sim. Normally this is set to 8088 so that it works with the CJ4 mod as well. But I set it to 8089. Just keep in mind, it's just a feature of the plugin that I built. Was I made sure that that mod, I could change the IP address and I could change the port that it sends to. So I could literally run the server somewhere else or make an iPad app, which is the intended plan. So anyway, now that we've changed it back, so we forced that LVAR to change it, now you see it is available. And if we go back to the home page, that's why you'll see the CDU left and right showing up in the display. So if we use those pages, it's going to be the default layout for the buttons. However, in this case, I had also made additional to the standard left, center, right, I make 2 custom pages. And then on a plane-by-plane basis, like the P180, I'll go and I'll adjust the custom pages just so I can keep everything else intact. Now, one of the things is if you hold down the control key, the left control key, while clicked in on a button or somewhere in SPAD, you will notice you can make all the things go green. So this can be very helpful to see places that you can map things to. If you press Control and Alt, it will highlight green things that have something assigned to it. So that's kind of neat. However, you'll notice that none of these keys, for example, have anything because we're on the home page. So even on this home page, there is different things assigned to different keys and different displays. So it's an easy way to see where you have things mapped. For example, in my snippets, I always put the display control, the key control, and the LED control for brightness. These buttons are just setting my own local variable, which changes which item the brightness and dim keys are going to control. So if I want to increase the display brightness, I click on that button, and now pressing the brightness and dim keys, I can control what the display brightness is. So any of the buttons, you can click on them, you can add actions and do what you need to do like any SPAD device. More importantly, let's go over to the right-hand side, and here we'll find device settings. So because this is a complete device, of course, you can also print off a summary, which will give you a summary of this device or all devices inside of this profile. You can deactivate device in this profile. So if I want this device never to be used in this profile, but I want to disconnect it, I can deactivate it for this, but I could also just leave it with nothing mapped. If you want to clear everything, if you download a snippet, you want to clear it out, you could always reset device profile. One of the more important things is settings profile. So here you have the ability to come in and remap colors. So this will allow you to remap the color map. Imagine you are doing a profile for a plane and everything is green. This is a way that you could come in and for all those default color maps, change them all to green, and then no matter what, when anything is called up, you'll always get green. And profile by profile, so you can pick and choose. So that's kind of a neat little feature, and that's found under the device settings. Pages, if you wanted to reorder the pages, you can come in and you can reorder the pages, how they show in your drop-down. It's also where you can come to add a page, copy a page, so this would duplicate this page, reorder, rename, and you can even remove pages. And when you're on a page that's not currently set as your default page, you can mark a page as default. But since the SPAD menu is the default, away you go. Virtual power is enabled, so therefore under the power, that's where you need to have scripted events that will track a specific variable. In this case, it's using the default electrical master battery. If you have a simulator which is using LVARs and this isn't the right one, well then you come in and you change which variable will turn the virtual power on and off. You'll notice on mine, I always throw in a when flight is started, switch me back to the SPAD menu and set the CDU index to 99. That just makes sure it always comes to the SPAD homepage, and then I can go and move it to whichever CDU I need, or get to the status, or change the lights. If you make your own, don't forget, feel free to publish that device. Make sure you do the complete device. If it's for specific aircrafts, go ahead, give it a name, give it a description, and then hit submit. If you're updating an existing one, go ahead and hit that select snippet, but make sure before you do that, you select complete device. A lot of people come in, it's left on only selected event, they go to update the snippet, and they can't find it. Complete device, select snippet, and it's smart enough to show you the only snippets you published for this device class type. So if we go over to the C750 custom page, so the LED is going to light up, and now we're going to see the exact same information as we were seeing inside of the sim. Okay, well, with that, you can see we've got the matching information on our CDU, but it is time. We're going to want to get out of here because it looks like somebody is punching up behind us saying, hey, get going. Well, if you made it this far, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Come along with us next time. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.